Hello, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you from a holler in eastern Kentucky, way up in one, actually, in Belfry, Kentucky area, Hardy, Kentucky to be specific, right along the Tug River. And if you were watching the show today, earlier around the noon midday muster program, I actually delved a little bit into some of this stuff called social Darwinism and what's going on at the top and the entitlement that certain people feel that they have to rule the world, basically. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that too. But then later in the day, I actually went to downtown Williamson, West Virginia, which is about 5 miles from here, where I'm at in Kentucky, and walked around town and looked at everything, talked about it for a little while. I actually went in and talked to some business owners. So trying to encourage people to go in and shop in Williamson. I've threatened that the Williamson family needs to take that city back over again because we started it. And now it's dilapidated, run down, needs to be just shaken out and dried again. Start over. I don't know. The thing is a mess. Anyway, so we have a show today that is going to revolve around different things. One of the first things I want to do is do this new series kind of thing I'm doing. I'm actually watching Fox News, The Five. I've been watching them now since January of last year, because that's what people in my house here watch. They like Fox. They're Trump supporters, all of them. And I think everyone around me, except for one person, the wealthiest person in the community, is not a Trump supporter. But everybody else, yeah. But the funny thing is, I'm going to tell you a little story first before I jump into the fake five, okay? So I'm driving out to go downtown, actually, when I did the thing for Williamson. And one of the neighbors down the road from here, it was 3 or 4 or 5 houses down, waved me down. I was going out. He was walking his dog. And he said, hey, I've got a bunch of clothes up here at the house that my daughter left around. I was thinking if you wanted some of those things, you can come over and check them all out and go through them. They're all really new stuff and modern, contemporary stuff, he said, and you're more than welcome to come and check it out, he said. But you know something? That's the kind of stuff that actually resonates, because what it tells me is that I haven't imposed myself on somebody else. I haven't tried to force my way into their lives and tell them that this is how you have to describe me and this is what you have to do it, and that all this kind of stuff. That doesn't work, folks. The thing that works is being in that community, being there, doing things, participating in things. They know I'm here helping out with my mom and brother and sister. They know all this stuff. I'm going to move my microphone a little closer. So they know all of this stuff. The entire community knows. Everybody talks about it. I know they do. It's just normal human gossip. It's always going on. People are always, as a matter of fact, I was downtown Williamson the first time I did a little video clip not too long ago, a month or so ago, maybe less. I come back to Gideon's home here where I'm staying, and he said, so how was your walk around town today? And I go, how'd you know that? And he goes, somebody called him and let him know that I was down there walking around town. I said, oh my gosh. No, it doesn't bother me in the least. I just thought it was funny. But the guy stopping me today to let me know, he's an older gentleman. He lives alone. His daughter lives next to him, and his daughter is married to a Kentucky State Trooper. So, I mean, everybody knows everybody here. That's just the way it is. And they know you, too. They know who I am, too, period. Everybody knows that. We wave at each other going by and passing each other on this stop, move over, find a turning spot to get off the road so they can pass, to continue in their direction if you can. But I mean, that's the kind of place I live in. It's really, really small, really quaint, really country, and really redneck. Down at the end of this road where it connects up with another road, there was a house right across the street that said, back before the election, says, I'm voting for the felon. And that's the kind of, I mean, here it's just everywhere. It's everywhere here. And that's all right, folks. That's all right. I'm not threatened by that. Why should I be threatened by it? Nearly everybody around here is family. Literally, I might not know them. I might not know their names, but I can guarantee you somewhere along the line we're connected. So walking around town in Williamson, I'm going, Lord, we need to take this town over again. I can't have my name stuck on something like that. This mess here in town is crazy. And then the 5 comes on. After I get back home, I've been thinking about it. I talked to my friend from down in Florida, and we've talked about all kinds of different topics. And my friend she always calls me up to say, I want to plant this idea in your head subliminally. And I've told her several times, I said, your suggestions aren't subliminal. They're very much there. But the thing is, though, lots of times, and most times, I find that what she tells me is right. There's something I need to talk about. So one incident that I had, now this is before I get into the series on the fake 5, okay, because I actually recorded some of their audio and a couple of things I wanted to talk about. But one of the stories that my friend and I talked about today was of this lesbian woman, 19-year-old woman who'd taken her 13-year-old cousin to a McDonald's, and this was in Illinois, and she decided she needed to go to the bathroom, so she went to the women's bathroom. Nothing at all wrong with that. But 2 young men, one a juvenile and the other an adult, saw her going in, and they confronted her on the way back out, and they confronted her more along her lines of her sexual orientation, but the reason for it has to do with bigotry. And not just that, because of all of this bull crap that's going on in the country right now that says you've got to keep an eye out on those restrooms. We can't let those transgender women go there. We've got to stand up to that and stop them. You know what's happening? The people being stopped are actually cisgendered women and trans men who were born female, who look like the men that Jesse Waters wants to claims to be pushing and supporting over there, because he thinks he's got to go work out. I'll get to that in a minute. I know. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here. But anyway, so she was attacked. She was beaten unconscious. And those 2 young people will be charged with a hate crime, because that's why they attacked her. So this stuff is not normal. This is the result of these laws that have to do with not letting transgender women use the bathroom that they know they belong in. Now, let me tell you, I will say this very clearly. I will say it very clearly and very loudly. If you do not respect the group of people or the identity that you are seeking to be like, you walk in there with your full beard on, like the trans man did, by the way. Full beard, looks completely masculine, bulked up. Well, somebody's going to look at you and go, hey, you don't belong in here. But then on the same token, you're following the law when you do that. But perception is really all it amounts to. A trans woman goes into the women's bathrooms, and then if they aren't stereotypical women, they will be called out, and people will give them a hard time. Sometimes, most times, many times, I should say. So these laws aren't going to work the way they say they want them to work. It's going to be more of harassment for women than any other thing. It's going to be more of a harassment for men than any other thing. So it's just a matter of harassment. It's never really about that anyway, though. They just want to shove all the LGBTQ plus IA people under the floorboards of the closet. So today, on the fake 5, the 5 on Fox News, give proper credit, today's date, whatever it might be, I don't know, 2nd of June, 2025, a Monday. On today's show on the 5, you had Jesse Waters and Dana Perino and Greg Gutfeld. I put Jessica on there, but that's not it. It was shoot, the young man's name. Ford. Ford was on there, and then Emily. There's another person there. So those 5 people were on the show, and the thing that strikes me every time is the hypocrisy that keeps rising up on this show every time. I mean, they do everything they can to, how do you put it, be a Trump apologist. They're always taking whatever it is he says, whether he says one thing one day or something else the next day, and they're going, well, this is why I did that, and this is why I did that. They're talking heads without anything in them. That's essentially what we have there. And then you get to, there's 2 words that keep showing up out of Jesse's mouth and sometimes out of the others, but transgender. So he's policing what it means to be men and a man. And today, let me just see if I can get the quote correct here now. Hold on. Okay. So let me just go start at this top line. This is where it actually started. Now, this is quoting from Jesse Waters on the 5 today. All right. So I was at a resort a little while back and saw Senator Thune at the gym. The man is jacked and the guy is in great shape and he lives hard. And you look at Schumer and he's built like a woman. Now, men do not want to be led by the party of women. Men want to be led by other men. So Democrats need to become men, and then they can persuade men, but they have to lift first. I'm serious. That was a quote from Maya Angelou, whatever. But okay. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Okay. That's where he got into that, but let's see. And if they lift, they feel better. And then everybody around them would feel better. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And he's talking about men and what it takes to be the definition of a man. You know, somebody who goes to the gym, works out, attracts women, doesn't sip from a straw, doesn't cross his legs, has his legs wide open as if there's anything there worth checking out. Usually there's not. Because it's like let me see, some kind of failure of masculinity, because they're insecure in their masculinity. So that's what's happening here. That's exactly what's going on. They're insecure in it, so they're trying to define it. Jesse's trying to be the goalkeeper or the gatekeeper for the manosphere and what it means to be a man. Now, if the same trans man who goes into a bathroom and gets into a women's bathroom and then gets called out for being a man in a woman's bathroom, and this person is masculine, built solidly, muscular person, matches every physical characteristic that Jesse has for what a man is, externally looking at him, he's built well, he looks good. I mean, he's got it all together, got the right suit on and the right collar and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Jesse would consider that person to be the man's man. But just as soon as a trans woman walks into that bathroom, and if they don't fit this stereotypical womanhood thing that Jesse has in his head, then they're called out and get beat up, even if they are just regular old cis women walking in there and just happen to have a short haircut or look too tall to be a stereotypical woman or too built to be a stereotypical woman. I'm telling you what, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen anyone say and believe. And Jesse believes this stuff, folks. Believes it with everything in his heart, apparently. And Greg just laughs about it all and goes on. There's not a single person on the show who calls Jesse out for that kind of bull. Okay? They don't have the guts to. So we're dealing with some crazy people, folks. Crazy people who think they have a right to tell us what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman. And they have this stereotypical image in their head of a woman who is shorter than them, who doesn't make as much money as them. That's important. That's been said on this show too. That the man is not uh, in the relationship and makes less than the woman in the house. I mean, that has been brought up. Can you believe that crap? Can you really believe this? I mean, it is just so infantile. It really is. I don't know why they say this. They can't be that dumb, can they? Anybody? Can they really be that dumb? Apparently they are. I get a kick out of them because, one, I write everything down if I can, if I think about it in time. I'm going to start recording it more too, using my little notepad on iPhone. So I can record all of it and transcribe it, but to make sure I give proper credit, because I don't want to be sued by anybody. I want to make sure their words get said correctly. But at the same time, I want to take them to task over it, because who's Jesse to think that he has a right to tell men how to be men? Really? I know some men who would put Jesse to shame in all kinds of ways, and they don't even have to spread their legs open to show what they've got. Hear that, Jesse? They don't have to sit there all spread eagle out there and going, check this out, I'm a man, I'm sitting back here like I'm not real smart either. And he says that kind of crap too. As if the stereotypical man that he has in his head, that one is, they don't have to be smart. All they have to do is be able to drink out of a glass without a straw. Or they've got to be able to, support their woman and the woman not support them. And then you got to make sure that everything you say sounds like it came out of a 6th grade elementary school book. If they even opened the book up. Holy crap. And Jess and Greg on the other hand thinks that he's all smart and stuff. But he's the worst one on the whole group to kind of apologize for Trump. And I'm using apologize in the sense of Jefferson Davis. People claim that there was a Trump apologist and a Civil War apologist and a Confederate apologist, all this kind of stuff. Basically, they were claiming that something that wasn't. They're saying that the Civil War wasn't about slavery. It was about states' rights. And everybody who has any brains at all knows that it was about slavery, right? Don't you? Don't y'all know that? It was just about slavery. I don't care what you think about it. All you have to do is read the Constitution. You can prove it. Now, a Trump apologist is someone who knows he says something stupid, is doing something crazy against other groups of human beings just because he has the power to do so, and then you're apologizing for it. Apologizing in an academic sense, okay? Trying to cover it up, whitewash it. That's probably the correct way to approach this thing. So that's what we're having right now. We're having a lot of this stuff going on, and the 5 is the worst about whitewashing everything that comes out of the Trump administration. And they cannot be that ignorant of what's going on in this administration. Now, let me just put this out there just so everybody gets a good idea of what I'm saying. There are a lot of things that happen to run. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's a lot of stuff that I agree with. No one should ever be forced to live in just strictly their white or black box, and someone is telling them that you can't do that because that makes you look like you're the other color or the other political party or the other gender or sex, any of those things. You can't have, you don't want people to have to do that with you. So it's all gray. The world is gray. Everything in it is gray, folks. And what we have with the 5 is, well, it's more brown. Yeah, literally. Let's see what's down here in the chat. Let's see who said something. Them that are and them that lie about it. Yep, next. Yeah, we all know about that for sure. So anyway, come back tomorrow. We'll have another talk about all this stuff. It's been fun. I'm likely to do some more live stuff around town. I actually enjoyed walking in on. I walked into one vape shop in Williamson, and I said, "Ken, do you mind if I record in here?" And he looked at me kind of a scant. They said, "What for?" And I said, "Well, it's maybe drum up some business for you." I said, "Do you want to go ahead and promote your business?" And they said, "No." And I said, "Well, do you mind if I record it and just look at the stuff on the walls and all that?" And they said, "No, go ahead." So I did, and that place reeked of marijuana. Oh my God, did it ever? It's probably some eau de parfum of marijuana they've got, because it is strong in that darn place. Phew, little old tiny hole in the wall place downtown in Williamson, smoking vape shop. And they were shocked. And I looked at all the stuff on the walls and everything. I'm thinking, I'm going to have an interpreter to tell me what this stuff really is, because I have no freaking idea. I don't know what any of that is, what that's for, how you use that. I don't even want to know. I'm not interested. And then I walked out and walked into the Mingo Messenger, the newspaper in town. That's been around for 14 years now. And talked with the owner of that a little bit. Then I walked into a beauty bar. That was very interesting. They actually, Kayla Klein, if you're watching, she owns the beauty bar there in Williamson, and a very interesting place. So she was willing to chat and talk with me about things, and some of the nail specialists. I'm sure there's another word for that. They talked. I mean, I'm going to do more of that, and because I've told them, I've warned everybody, y'all screwed this town up.